Well, tubers, tubettes, and of course crazy people. This little video is called Will You Have a Soft Landing When You Arrive in the Philippines? And in this video, I'm going to make a number of assumptions. I'm going to assume that, number one, you're coming to the Philippines to stay. This isn't a holiday, this isn't a visit, this isn't a vacation. It's not a scouting mission. You decided this is where you're coming. I'm also making the assumption that you are coming to Dumaguete. This information would change if you were going to a different part of the country. So just let that be the disclaimer. And what I'm going to talk about in this video is I'm going to talk about just some nuts and bolts stuff that I think if you do it preemptively while you're still back home and set up and get ready to do, will make the transition over here so much simpler. And I'm going to talk about a little bit about once you arrive here, what you can do to make the transition stay smooth as opposed to being a crash and burn. Do I cover everything in this? No. I don't get into plane tickets. I don't get into health care or medications or hospitals. This is strictly for the guy that's decided that he's going to be coming over here. He's going to stay. He's going to live in Dumaguete. And this is sort of a snapshot of what I think would be imperative to do to make sure that your transition over here is smooth and easy. Okay, here comes my little video. Okay, so we have our generic expat, and he's a guy just like me, and he's got a few $1,000s a month coming over in his Social Security or the annuity or the pension, house rental, whatever it is, and X amount of dollars in savings as a cushion and as a safety net. So what are some steps that you can take to make sure that your transition over here will assure you of a softer landing as opposed to a possible crash and burn? All right, some generic stuff, but one thing I don't believe I've ever talked about before, and I'm a big believer in now, is just register yourself with the United States Embassy. Do it while you're in the States. Anything you have to do on the internet prior to coming over here, do it in the States, because doing it over here is not fun. Sometimes you can get a connection, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you're halfway through it and the lights go out because there's a brownout. So just save the brain damage. Be preemptive. Set yourself up prior to coming out. All right, so you've registered with the embassy. Good job. You're going to want to have a forwarding address from the States. My recommendation, and I don't like to make recommendations, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. Keep your money in America. Have your money go from whatever entity it's coming from. I'm going to say Social Security. And that's what mine's been doing for the last 6 years. It's been going from Social Security into my American-based bank. And then I simply use a money transfer service once a month to transfer over my monthly budget. So you've got your banking set up. The Social Security is set up to go into your bank. And then I would recommend that you look at a number of money moving companies. You can research those on your own. There's Wise, there's Remitly, and I use Zoom and Wise. I'm set up with two. I like redundancy. And I don't like to give advice, but like I said, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone here. I would be as redundant as humanly possible when it comes to these things. One may work one day, the other one may work the other day. You get my drift. So your money is staying in America. Doesn't mean you can't open a bank here and change that around. But for now, before you come out, make sure that the money from Social Security or your pension or your annuity is going into the bank. When you move the money over here, they are going to want to call you the first time. I've said this in a video about 5 videos ago. I had a lot of guys thank me for this, so I think it bears repeating. Keep your American number that you've always had with Verizon or T-Mobile or whatever, Sprint, and just keep it alive. Ask them for an international number. Pay the extra money. I think when I came over here, it went from $50 to $65 to do that. I think now it goes from $100 to $150 or something silly. It's not something you need to keep forever. Why do I recommend that you keep your number when you come over here? The first time that you do anything, and primarily it's with transferring of funds. So you've got your money in the bank, you've come over here, you've brought cash with you, but at some point you're going to want to transfer your monthly budget. Well, guess what's going to happen? They're going to send you a text on your phone. And if you don't reply to that text within like 5 minutes or something like that, it expires and they might cancel you. So I found that out by dumb luck. I kept my phone alive because I wanted to stay in touch with my family and friends. And I knew the phone, international calling, worked like a charm. So you don't have to continue that for months and months and months, but at least for the first couple of transfers of money, make sure that they can get a hold of you. If you switch over to like Google Voice or something like that, they may or they may not use that or recognize that number. So I believe in being safe and overbuilding it, if you will. Just keep it as safe and as humanly and bulletproof as possible. A forwarding address. I recommend maintaining an address in your home country, in this case, the United States of America. There are mail forwarding services. Some folks have a kid or a sister or a brother or a relative or a good friend that agrees to take their mail and will open it up and read it to them. If that works for you, cool. I had that for a while, but then they moved. And so that created a bit of a quandary for me. I fixed it, but I had to set up a mail forwarding service. It's about $20 a month for me. I use Traveling Mailbox. I don't like them. I don't recommend them. And so I would do due diligence and find a mail forwarding service that suits your needs. And what a mail forwarding service will do is you might get an important document like a W-2 or I don't know, a new credit card or something to that effect. And they will give you the choice. They will open the mail for you if you tell them to. And then they will scan it and you can read it. And then you can now download it and print it out. So I did that last year with my Social Security statement and with my 1099 statement from YouTube so that I could do my taxes. I needed those documents. Now, if there was somebody at home that was getting my mail, could open it up and take a picture of it and send it to me, same thing. It's all good. What you do is what you do. But I guess the gist of this is make sure you can get your mail and get it to you here efficiently and effectively. So you're going to want to maintain a phone number that works. And then after you get over here, excuse me, you can get another phone number. You can get a local number. You can keep your phone and buy another phone. How you do it is totally up to you. Okay, money. If you're bringing money, we'll stay on that. If you're bringing money over, if it was me and I had it to do all over again, I would bring as much as humanly possible. I believe 10,000 is the number before they make you declare it. So I'll go back to America at some point in time this year, I think. And when I do, I'm going to go to my bank and I'm going to withdraw $9,900. I'm going to bring it back with me. Why? Because it's just that much simpler to have it here without the transfer fees, the transfer limits. You get my drift. I'd rather have it here. I have the luxury of already having a bank here in the Philippines that I can deposit the money into for safety. My wife has a bank, a different bank, that I could deposit the money into for safety. I also have safe stuff here at the house that I can put the money into for safety. But if you bring money over, go to your bank and get brand new, unmarked, unflawed $100 bills. You'll get the most bang for your buck when you go to exchange it. And if there's any nick, any fold, any this, any that, they'll reject it. So how much you bring, that's up to you. I'm just telling you what I would do. But make sure they are from the bank, crisp, clean, straight. Protect them, wrap them up, stick them in there safely in your carry-on, and have them with you. All right. Passport. If your passport is getting a little old, maybe you'll want to renew your passport prior to coming out here. You can also get passport cards that fit into your wallet. That would be extremely handy if you lost it. Duplicity, again, is, I think, very important. If you are thinking about getting married, maybe you're coming over here because you're going to be meeting somebody. I wasn't, but bring your divorce papers if that applies to you. Bring the original ones. Birth certificates. Hall of records. Get yourself, again, redundancy, 3, 4, 5 copies of your birth certificate. You're going to need it at some point in time, especially if you're applying to get married. You may not see that in your foreseeable future, but hey, what the hell? Bring it with you. That way you've got it. I didn't have my divorce decree here when I came, but I did go back to the States last year, and I knew at that point in time that I was going to be married, so I did just that. I went and got the original. Would have been easier. Believe me, it would have been a lot easier. So I had to go through my ex-wife to get it. But bring the divorce decree. Okay, so we've got money is set up to transfer. Money is being directly deposited in your American bank. Your passport is current. Your birth certificate has been duplicated. Any other documents are duplicated and stored safely to where they won't get all bent and folded and whatnot. That's a good start. As far as bringing over clothes, that's changed a little bit in my mind. Number one, if you're a big boy, large sizes, like a 36 waist on up, you're going to have a difficult time here in sleepy little Dumageddon, at least, finding anything to fit you that's brand new. But what that's changed is that there are, what's it called now? Amazon is now shipping over here for free a lot of items. So what would I do? I would go down and I would find a brand of shorts and a brand of shirts that fit me, and either bring those or memorize it or write it down, because once you get over here, they're eventually going to wear out. And if you can't find anything that fit you, you can go on good old Amazon and you'll notice the size to order, and it's much better than trying to use the local stuff like Lazada or Shopee. I ordered all kinds of stuff from Lazada and Shopee for me, and guess who ended up wearing it? My wife. Even hats. because they were just like 3 sizes smaller. And I was ordering extra larges on everything. And she wears them. She's not here. I don't know why I'm pointing over there. But my wife wears my shorts, the hats, all that kind of stuff. So if you're if you're a 34 waist on down, that's not going to be a big issue. Shoes could be an issue if you're more than a size 8. I've been looking for flip-flops for about 3 weeks. Still can't find any. Gonna have to go to good old Amazon, I guess. Take my own advice. So there's that. So you've got your paperwork, you've got your clothes, you've got your cash. I recommend bringing as much cash as humanly possible. You can get a dealio called a lock tote bag. That is something that will secure your funds. If you've got a fancy watch or a ring or any kind of bling, you may want to put it in that. I wouldn't recommend getting off the plane here in a foreign country wearing a diamond ring and a $100,000 Rolex. Probably not a good idea. Might want to keep those parked until you get yourself settled in. Okay, we've registered with the embassy. We've set up our money transfer. We've made sure that we can get a phone call from anybody, bank, Social Security, Zoom, your Remitly, whoever's going to transfer it. Your passport is up to date. You've got new $100 bills with you. And you're also going to want to investigate driver's licenses and make sure that those are as current as possible. One thing I might recommend is if you do change your address to a traveling mailbox type of entity, you may want to go down to the DMV and change your driver's license to that address. Why? Because sometimes when you apply for something, such as another transfer service, they're going to want to verify your address matches what you put in their information, and they're going to want you to take a picture of it and scan it over to them. I couldn't open one up because my driver's license has one address, my traveling mailbox has another, and then my address here is yet another address. So it's all wackadoodle for me. I need to actually go back to the States when I do, and I'm going to have to take a trip to the DMV. So credit cards, try to make sure that you have a life expectancy on them. Some credit cards will simply extend the date. So let's say you've got 3 or 4 credit cards. Hopefully you've zeroed out the balance. You're going to be using those over here on occasion. Make sure that you've got 4 or 5 years on them if you can. If they're going to expire next month, they're not going to do you any good. So you may want to get some new ones, or you can call the credit card company and say, hey, can you extend the date out on my credit card? And normally they will comply with that, or get new ones. And so this is something that you're doing months before you actually come out here. When you get here, let's dive into this. And if I think of anything else, I'll throw it in. All right, so you've done all that good stuff. Oh, here, I'm going to throw it in. Transportation. When you get here, do you know what you're going to use for transportation? Are you a car guy? Are you going to be driving a scooter? Or are you planning on using public transportation? To be candid with you, public transportation in Dumaguete only doesn't really work if you want to go anywhere of any distance. It's a real pain. I've seen a number of guys. I used it for a while. I couldn't take it. I used it for like 4 days, and then I went out and rented a scooter because there's just trikes. There's no cabs. There's no Ubers. There's no, what's the other one called? Whatever it is, to put on your phone here in Dumaguete. They've got them in Cebu, but not here. And remember, our atypical expats here in Dumaguete with Uncle Paulie. So possibly, let's just go with the idea that you're going to drive a scooter, you think, or a motorcycle. Wouldn't it be good if you went out right now, prior to getting on the plane, and visited Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, whatever floats your boat, and investigate some different sizes of bikes and go sit on them? Again, I drive a Honda ADV 150. It's more than enough bike for me. I weigh 160 pounds. You might weigh 260 pounds or 340 pounds. You might need a big bike. Well, they'll sell them to you over here. You can find the bike, but wouldn't you like to know which one you really want? Why am I saying all that? I'm going to go with the assumption that you're going to be driving a bike. Car is a different matter. But I'm going to say that you're going to be driving a bike. If you know what you want, there's no real sense in wasting a lot of money renting a bike after you get out here, I mean. Wouldn't kill you to rent one for a week just to assure yourself that you can navigate the traffic okay, you're cool with it, the bike is good, it's working for you, absolutely positively. The reason I bring this up is I was having a chat with a guy, and he's just got here 7 or 8 months ago. He's been renting a bike for the last 7 or 8 months at $200 a month. And he says, I'm going to stay here. The stupidest thing I've done is continue to rent this bike. I could have bought one by now. And he wasn't looking at a fancy bike, but he was right. He was pretty close to paying full price, 80,000, 90,000 pesos for the type of bike he was driving. Would have been free and clear, would have been his, and it would have just ended up being a financial benefit to him as opposed to the rental thing. So there's something to take a look at. If you're looking to buy a car over here, understand there's no financing for you. You're a tourist. You're not going to qualify for any financing. Might want to look at different cars in the Philippines. How much do they cost? I bought one. It was just under $11,000 out the door all in. Brand new little Toyota Wigo. Just broke down and bought it because I felt the bike was getting too dangerous. You might need an SUV type of vehicle or whatever. Budget for that and figure that you're going to need that when you get here. And again, what can you do? You can rent one for a day or two once you arrive, just to make sure that you're making the right decision before you pull the trigger. Once you've gotten here, you're going to probably, I can't think of any other way to do it unless you've done something super spectacular, you're going to check into a hotel. Now, us Americans, we have this mode of get in, get it done, move on to the next thing. I know I brought that attitude with me. I wanted to start the deal. I wanted to finish the deal. I wanted to book the deal. I wanted to put it away, and I wanted to start the next deal. Boom, 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 boom. Things don't work that way out here. You can start the deal, and then it's going to get delayed for a while. And when I say deal, I'm talking about anything generic out here, such as buying a car, buying a scooter, renting an apartment. When you go to buy that motorcycle or go to buy that car, probably won't happen that day, even though you've got cash on the barrelhead. There'll be some kind of delay or snafu. I don't know what it is, but it'll pop up. So there you go on that. This is the thing that I really want to emphasize is slowing down. We all want to get boom, boom, boom. That's our mentality. That's how we grew up. That's how we worked. That's how we operated. I remember on my days off, my time was precious to me. So I would have 5 things to do. I would need to go to the dry cleaners. I would need to get a haircut. I would need to go to the market and, I don't know, something else, something else, something else. So I would mentally plot it in my head. Okay, I'm going to go to the farthest place from me. I'm going to drop off my dry cleaning, and then I'm going to work my way back to where I can get the haircut, and then I'm going to work my way back to where I'm going to do my grocery shopping, and then I'm going to haul it home, and I'm going to unload it. I would have this all programmed in my head. Start at the furthest point, work my way in. That's just the way we want to utilize our time to the most efficiency. It doesn't work that way out here. It doesn't matter where you go or what you do. You're going to get slowed down, or you're not going to get it done, or it's not going to be there. And so the slow down mentality is really tough for a lot of us. I'm not excluded from that. And that's the one thing you're going to need to learn when you get here, is to take a deep breath and understand, this is why I'm here. I came for a change. I needed something different. I got my change. I got something different. And you're going to need to kind of adapt and accept and adjust to your new surroundings. This is why I recommend staying in a hotel for an extended period of time and budgeting for that. I have 3 friends right now that have committed to 1-year leases and hate the place after 1 month. Everything was cool and groovy when they moved in, but afterwards things changed. I won't bore you with the details. I'll just say it again. 3 guys this month, or last month, I'm sorry, moved in, thought they had the right place. Turns out they didn't have the right place. And they are going to lose, if they change their mind and break the lease, they're going to lose their security deposit, their last month's rent, etc. So I would be financially better off, or you may be financially better off, just to stay in a hotel. And I would figure my friend, one of the 3, has decided that he's just going to suck it up and eat the security deposit, and he's going to move right back into the hotel he started out in here. He said, Paul, for $1,000 a month, I've got a nice big room. I can run the aircon 24 hours a day. Not going to cost me an extra penny. Every time I need a new towel or the place cleaned, I just tell the front desk. There's a free breakfast included, which gets a little boring over time, but still it's there. So is that $1,000 really $1,000? No, because he's getting free food, he's getting free air conditioning, and that can run you $100 a month or more out here. He's got no security deposit, he's got no money tied up, and where it's located, he can walk to all the places that he goes to. He's a very uncomplicated guy. He just wants to have a clean place, wants to be able to get online. Oh yeah, the internet's free, by the way. And he wants to be able to go, he's got a car, and they have parking underground for his car, so if he needs it, it's there. But he can walk to restaurants. He likes to go to the gym, and he likes to date an occasional gal now and then. But that's his life. He's been in 2 apartments. They've been nightmares. He's bought furniture for them. He's had nothing but disappointments. So I won't belabor it. That happens a lot out here. So again, here I go with that A word, advice. If I had it to do all over again, because I made a similar mistake. If I had it to do all over again, I would figure in my budget 3 months in a hotel. $3,000 in a hotel. That may not fit you, but it's out there. That way you get to do what? Slow down. You can shop around for that motorbike. or that car. Remember, it's not going to happen today. Within 90 days, you should have what's called an ACR card. And that, along with your passport, should be able to open you up a bank account. You can get that set up. You can go down and get a driver's license, which you're going to need. There are people that can help you get that driver's license and open up that bank account. There's a number of guys that I know out here that are starting services that are tailor-made for new guys. They're not working, they're not up and running yet. We know people, May and I know people that we've used that will help you go down and get a driver's license, help you look for an apartment, and a car, a motorbike, walking you through all the nuances, slowing down, taking your time. Fools rush in. So that's kind of the nuts and the bolts of it if you're moving here to Dumaguete. Come prepared with all your documentation. Be prepared to transfer your money without it being screwed up because you didn't get a text or an email. Have all your documents that are necessary. Bring cash and a safe place to put it. Speaking of hotels, most of them have room safes. If you're in the hotel for 3 months, that could cut down to 1 month or 2 months. You might get lucky. But I'm saying mentally plan $1,000 a month for a hotel room. If you got upper crusty taste, bump it up to $1,200 or $1,300. Up to you, which is a phrase you hear out here a lot. All right, kids, that's just it. That's how to have a soft landing as opposed to a crash and burn. I think the real takeaway on this is do prep work. You know you, I don't. Do some prep work as far as making sure that when you get over here, you don't find yourself out of money or in a quandary or that things are going to expire or your credit card's not working, all this and that. There is a very good chance that you're going to have a tough time finding an apartment or a house that meets your needs. And guess what? If I'm wrong and everything goes copacetic, you're way ahead of the game. But by the little bit of information that I tried to share in this video, then you've just padded your bank. You've prepared to be here in a hotel for 3 months at $1,000. Hey, you get an apartment, it's $600 a month. God bless, and you love it. Great. I hope that happens to you. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video.